here to share with you about my reflections on our discussion this week. And this week we have been discussing racial issues and concerns along with cross-cultural interactions and the effects of them. And as I reflected earlier today and during the week, it brought me to a place of remembering how important it is for us to become educated on whatever subject matter or person that we are wanting to share information on. It is very, very important that we position ourselves to be open and willing to learn something new from that cultural experience or that cultural interaction and from within the culture. In other words, from that person's perspective or that culture's perspective. That's very important because when we only share from our perspective and we have not taken the time to go within the culture or to speak with those representing the culture to understand the subject, our information is erroneous and it isn't filled with the level of substance that is actually needed in order to share something that is appropriate and that would appropriately give a good picture of what is actually going on with a specific culture. And that is something that I am constantly sharing with my children as to how did they arrive to the information that they are speaking of when it refers to other people. How did they come to that conclusion? Where did they form those opinions from, and what are those opinions based upon? And we have to become very cognizant of others, and in order to do that very effectively, I believe it begins with us as an individual. We have to be willing to self-assess. We have to be willing to examine ourselves openly and truthfully as we examine others. Because when we position ourselves and see our fallibility, when we look upon someone else, we will be less likely to judge them harshly because you are very aware of yourself. But to also integrate and study other cultures, from a little girl, I have always, there has not been a time that I could ever remember that I was not interested in other cultures. I've always sought to discover other cultures and understand their way of living and being and why they thought the things that they thought. I think it's quite fascinating and to read the contribution that John Howard Griffin provided was just another example of a great contribution, because he made a major sacrifice to darken his skin to actually go through the experience of something that he was interested in making a contribution in. And that was a prime example of how he could not give a quantified and qualified account of how black men or black people suffered only from one perspective without darkening his skin and actually going through the experience himself. And I'm really encouraged by, and I celebrate his contribution to the change in our society, because it certainly was a contribution. There are many opportunities that we each have and are given each day to contribute. And each time we open our mouths about a group, a person, an organization, about anything, we are afforded an opportunity to speak life or death. We're afforded an opportunity to say something good or bad, and we have to decide and assess ourselves as to where are we getting this information, and why do we think as we think. And it really does not matter how old we are or how mature we feel that we are based on our age. If that the same practices go for we that are mature as well as our children. So in order to encourage our children and change the areas from where we stand, and I certainly believe that wherever we are, there we are. Wherever we are, there we can be effective. Wherever we are, we should be sharing and shedding light upon any area that needs to be lit. I believe that we are afforded those opportunities every single day, and we should seize the moment to make sure that our life is very much the gift that it's supposed to be. And being able to embrace other cultures is an awesome opportunity for perspective shifting, for the expansion of perspective. It just gives and it yields so much. And we are change agents, and we have a great opportunity. And it was just so thrilling for me and encouraging to also the single story. I absolutely adored and enjoyed that piece very, very much so, because we have to be willing to position ourselves for self-examination and self-reflection and go a bit further, go beyond what you currently know, and try to seek to find other information and position yourselves to be inclusive as opposed to being exclusive. Again, I've enjoyed this module, and I am looking forward to our next discussion.